I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, May the 6th, my oldest daughter Savannah's birthday. She turns 25 today, making me feel old. Brought to you in part by VITALIX, livestock feed tubs to meet your every need. VITALIX wants to give feeder flash gang members free lick tubs. If you're watching this on the NationalBeefWire, click on the ad that's right next to this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, go down into the description and click on VITALIX there. Either one of those will take you to more information on how you could win a free VITALIX tub. Get the blue tub. Their integrity, quality, and value are all guaranteed. For more information, go to vitalix.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. Another good sale for them here today on Tuesday for the regular feeder cattle auction of all classes. Going to have close to 4,000 head. They'll have about 500 head of calves. Most of them weighing to 400 to 600 pounds there. But they're going to have two deals of older pairs they're going to split off. So they're going to have those little pee-wee calves come in if somebody's looking for them, or some roping calves. They will have about 80 head coming in off two different consignments. A lot of yearlings, guys, about 600 yearling heifers, most of them weighing in the 7 and 8 weights there. They are going to have one load of fancy red and black Angus replacement heifers from Winoka if you're interested in some of those. But a lot of nice yearling heifers, about 2,300 yearling steers, most of them weighing from 7.5 to 1,100 pounds. They're going to have two big consignments of big fancy black yearling steers right off the wheat, like they've been having the last few weeks. I mean, weighing well over 1,000 pounds. Ratcliffe deal and then another deal. But they'll be single sourced, fancy as you can get. I mean, quality and genetics to beat there, and they will feed like crazy. And they've just about doubled their weight out there on the wheat, so they'll continue to perform for you. They are going to have a few loads of 7-weight grazing steers too, guys, if you're interested in some of that. And then probably another 300 to 400 weigh-up cows and older bred cows and things there after the feeder sale. So check out Beaver County Stockyards on DVAuction.com. Monday morning surprise. And usually Monday mornings are kind of slow. You know, back in the day, whenever you had your packer buyers that drove around and drove up and down the feed alleys and was checking on what the cattle had for offer, if they had a show list or what they were going to be wanting to sell that week, they would check them out. Don't really do that anymore. Mondays are usually pretty quiet. People talking about last week's market, but not this Monday. This Monday in Texas and Kansas, they had phone calls there at the feedlot office, and I don't know exactly how it went, but I'm thinking it went kind of like this. You know, they answered the phone there fairly early on Monday morning, and your packer buyer said, hey Bob, how you getting along there? Well, pretty good. How are you? And he says, you got a show list put together yet? Well, not really. We're just kind of talking about it, maybe putting some of it together. Hey, I could use some cattle there. And, well, what are you thinking? And he said, well, I'll give you the same as last week. On a Monday morning, 218 was the market from last week. Going to give you the same as last week. And then I'm sure the feed yard guy said, well, let me kind of see what I've got here, and then we put together, I'll let you know if I want to do something, or we'll wait till later in the week. And then he hangs up, and then the band starts, and they start playing the drums and singing and going on, and that little cinder block office out there in the feed yards bouncing around, and then they start texting and calling, and it goes all the way to Chicago, and then everybody in the industry starts getting their texts just like I got mine Monday morning. They're already offering 218 in Texas and Kansas. Pretty exciting stuff. And so immediately we already know that the market's going to be higher, because, you know, only a fool's going to take steady money if they're offering it on a Monday morning. So they've tipped their hand. They're short bought. They don't even have enough cattle to get through the week. And this rally is going to continue on our cash fed cattle. And, it trickled off into the board. The board took off. It was a bunch higher and more higher on the live cattle than it was on the feeder cattle, which have been really driving here lately. But just pretty impressive there. And had a big movement of negotiated sales last week. And almost 100,000, over 99,000 nationwide negotiated. That's what I consider as a good movement, is 100,000 in the nationwide negotiated. We haven't seen that for a long time, but we had over 99,000, and there was light formula movement. So normally on a typical week, we see over 250,000 head trade in the formulas. There was just a little over 225,000 this past week in the formulas, so they're getting a little bit light over here with their corporate feedlot partners too. So it's just tight supplies, guys. And I've heard some people saying they kind of feel sorry for the packers, and other guys joking about it, like, let me dry my eyes here a little bit, because they know how it is. Normally the packer always has all the leverage in the trade negotiations, and boy, they don't let up whenever they're on the winning side. But I tell you what, they are behind the 8 ball right now, and stuck between a rock and a hard place. And fats are going to be higher this week, and there's not a lot of them out there. They're huge, but the packers need the weight, they need the head, they need the product, and it's going to be pretty good, guys. Talk to you about a sale that you might want to check out. Farmington Regional Stockyards in Farmington, Missouri. Been talking about it the last couple sessions there. Here tomorrow on Wednesday, May the 7th, they're going to have their pre-vax special, and that's in the southeast part of Missouri there, and they're going to have a lot, maybe like 1,500 head of 4 to 550 pound calves that are all 45 days weaned and had their shots. Where else can you go find them, guys? Also, don't forget about our Punchy Pick of the Month contest. We just had it there last week, but it's going to be coming around again before you know it. And if you got a Punchy Pick on your phone you've been meaning to send in, or if you get one here in the next few weeks, send it in. All you got to do is email that picture to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com, and you're automatically entered. If you got one of the Kids Corral is sponsored by Great Plains Consulting, and then of course the Punchy Pick of the Month sponsored by Beaver County Stockyards and Fairpiece, that revolutionary product that is scientifically proven. But let's talk about your board to start the week out. A lot of times we're down on to start the week, or struggling. Not this past Monday, and it was all because of that bid that come out early, fully steady in the southern plains. Now, if that would have been in the northern plains, it wouldn't have been that big a deal, because there's few places there that have extremely high quality cattle, and they'll garner a little more, and they'll want to cream them, so they'll know where a pen of really good fats are, and they might bid steady up there. It doesn't make that big of a wave. But in the southern plains, you get a steady bid early on Monday morning, it makes a big wave, and it went all the way to Chicago. June live cattle futures up 255 at 213.65. August up 230 at 209.07. Your back months on live cattle up 95 cents to up 192. Feeder cattle for May up 112 at 296.07. August up $2 smooth at 289.90. That's pretty good. And your back months on feeder cattle up $2 to up 245. July corn, now I guess it had to do, may have been something else, but big rains. I tell you what, I was gone from home here. I'm back to my friendly confines, but I was gone. We're working sales down in South Texas the last week and a half, and been gone. And closer I got to home in the middle of the Texas Panhandle, the more it looked like a tropical paradise. It doesn't take a lot of moisture to make this country look really good, and we've had a lot of moisture. Tell you what, right here around Canyon, Texas, just south of Amarillo, we've had 6.5 inches of rain in the last week and a half. And it is so green it makes your eyes hurt to look at it. It's unbelievable, but had a lot of rain up through the mid section of the country here over the weekend and things. And you know, anything that's good for the crop's bad for the market. July corn down 14 3/4 cents at 4.54 1/4. July beans down 12.5 cents a bushel at 10.45 1/2. Hard red winter wheat for July down 8.5 cents a bushel at 5.32 3/4. Your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade in your 5-area feeding region totaled up 81,600 in the 5-area. That compares to 52,500 the previous week and 78,500 the same week a year ago. Live sales of fat steers and heifers negotiated in your 5-area feeding region ranged from 213 to 224. That was $5 higher. Weighted average on live steers, 220.71. That was up $4.39 compared to the previous week's weighted average. Dress sales sharply higher, ranging from 340 all the way up to 360. We didn't even see that 360 until they got the recap done completely, but that's $5 to $15 higher. Weighted average on dress steers 349.37, up $7.95. Now nationwide we had, like I told you, 99,300 head of negotiated sales nationwide. That's a bunch. That's a good movement compared to 66,700 the previous week and 92,700 the same week a year ago. Of that 99,300, about 29% of them, so a fair amount of them, were for the 2 to 4 week delivery. So the packers are trying to get some cattle bought out front so they get some leverage in the trade, but they're not going to be able to do it this week. It doesn't appear already. Negotiated grid sales last week totaled 37,750. Forward contract 42,500 head, and like I said, formula sales last week were light, 226,600, and that's quite a bit lighter than usual. Of your 4 out of 5 area regions that we do get information from, excluding Colorado, Iowa sold 36,700 negotiated last week. That's the most they've sold in a long time. Nebraska sold 25,400. Kansas sold 11,400. That's a big movement for them. And Texas 8,100. Pretty good for them. And like I said, the Southern Plains already getting steady bids early Monday. Box beef cutout values were higher to start the week. Choice cuts up 67 cents at 243.57. Selects up 272 at 328.07. Your slaughter, 109,000 estimated cattle slaughter to start the week on Monday. That's 5,000 better than last week and 9,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Virginia Cattlemen's Association, they're one of the best. I know most of these state cattlemen's associations. I've been to their meetings and spoke to most of them. But Virginia is one of the best. Some of these state cattlemen's associations, they just carry the mail for the big corporate feeders, and they're pushing their agendas, and they're more into establishment. But Virginia Cattlemen's Association, they do exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They promote Virginia cattle. They've been doing it since 1944, and it was founded and started out as a marketing association, and they still do that. They still aid in marketing under the leadership of Brandon Reeves. He's the executive director, and I mean a really, really good young guy there. And then got Butch Foster. He's not a young guy. He's an old crusty guy, but he knows everything about Virginia cattle and knows where those cattle can be marketed, and he helps with the marketing. They work with local cattle auctions there and have special sales. They have a tele-auction that we help them with here at DVAuction. They just do a really good job helping their local producers stay in business by achieving top prices for their calves, and just working to get outlets all over. If you're in and around Virginia there, you want to check it out. Check out the VA Cattle app. You can download it from your Apple or Google App Store there, but check them out, Virginia Cattlemen's Association. Talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood. Your real-time index on DVAuction after all your sales that concluded on Monday, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer, was sitting at $296.92, up 76 cents with all those big commodity sales. So we're only $3 away to get to $300. I hope we get there this week. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 293.40. But your big sales on Monday, of course, Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, they had 4,200. Still very wet around there. They've been getting tons of rain around there too, guys. Feeder steers $2 to $10 higher. Feeder heifers steady to $5 higher. Steer calves $6 to $11 higher, and heifer calves $4 to $5 higher. So good sale there in Oklahoma City. Joplin Regional Stockyards in Carthage, Missouri, they had 7,400, which is a good run, but it's a little bit light for them. But it's just getting that time where we're kind of tailing off a little bit on receipts. But your feeders sold uneven. Now you remember that whale of a sale they had last week, and it was good this week too, but hard to completely outrun all those prices they had last week. So feeder market was kind of uneven. Called by the market reported there from 5 lower to 5 higher. Did say that lightweight heifer calves were as much as $12 higher, but Joplin was your National Beef Wire stick-out sale of the day. Check out these best tested weights on this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. 535 head of 4-weight steers in Joplin averaged 458 at 421.13. That 805 head of the 5-weight steers averaged 552 at 380.55. 669 head of the 6-weight steers averaged 636 at 348.30. 341 head of the 7-weights averaged 760 at 299.15. And 588 head of 8-weight feeder steers at Joplin Regional Stockyards had an average weight of 861, average price 276.94. Now the heifers, 669 head of 4-weight heifers, average 456 at 379.63. 724 head of the 5-weights average 550 at 334.97. 591 head of 6-weight heifers average 657 at 309.80. And 1,044 head of 7-weight heifers at JRS had an average weight of 767, weighted average price 273.62. Going to give you some individual quotes from all over the circuit. How about Russell Livestock Market in Russell, Iowa? They sell 74 lightweight steers, average 469 and bring 470. Big time quote there. How about Tina, Missouri? Tina Livestock Market had 122 head, 898 or 900-pound steers at 290 and a quarter. Callaway Livestock Center in Central Missouri, 130 head of 765-pound steers bring 318, and that's pushing up towards 800 pounds, guys. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote of the day, indeed come out of Joplin Regional Stockyards. There was 119 head of steers. They weighed 600 pounds smooth and bring 381. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.